it's amazing. When I discovered this, I was like really thrilled, because I never looked at life the same way again. And I hope this is going to help you. This is the tip of a lifetime, right? So what happened was, that, you know how we all do, like, for example, we want to do something in life, we want to have a business, we want to create a Facebook page, we want to read that book, we want to do that course, we want to design that piece of clothing. We want to do a lot of things, but for a lot of us, because sometimes we have to do those things out of our comfort zones, we come up with excuses, right? We come up with exceptions why I can't do that. Like, I could do that, but except I don't have that, right? We have a lot of these things, and usually, why that is, because usually you're so accustomed to your comfort zone, you don't want to step out of it. But let me tell you this, most amazing things in your life come out when you step out of your comfort zone, when you have the courage to look at the bigger picture and step out of the comfort zone. But let me tell you, this is not the discovery I'm talking about. This is just the background knowledge that I'm starting with, right? So the biggest discovery is the promises. So the promises impact our brains in the most amazing fashion, right? So when you promise something, the brain automatically expects something to happen, right? So there are two things, right? We have different parts of the brain that work very differently. So there is one part of the brain that expects you to do something if you say something, right? So we call those promises, or the conversations you have with self. Okay, so promise is not something like when you mention the word promise in itself. You don't have to say like, I promise I will never do that thing. It's not that what I'm talking about. I'm also talking about just the general conversation. For example, if you say, I'm going to get up an hour early tomorrow morning because I need to start exercising, right? I never get time during the day and I need to start exercising, so I'm going to get up half an hour early tomorrow morning. So now automatically your brain is expecting you to get up an hour early in the morning, right? And then what happens? But because you're so comfortable sleeping, you are so, into your zone, and next day when the alarm goes off, guess what happens? For most of us, what happens is you hit the snooze button and you're like, well, maybe I'll get up in half an hour. Half an hour goes by, you hit this snooze button again, right? And eventually you end up waking up at the same time, and guess what happens? You feel like it's not a big deal, right? You do feel like that it's not really a big deal that I did not get up on time, because I always usually do. Like, it's not a big deal. But here's what the discovery is. It is a big deal. It is a big deal to your brain. Your brain now thinks that you are a liar. You don't know that consciously, but unconsciously your brain is thinking that you promised to do something and you did not deliver. Right? So, and then you repeat that habit like throughout the day, doing various stuff. For example, you say, okay, I'm going to finish this in half an hour and then I'm going to do this, or I'm not going to jump on Facebook today, and then you jump on Facebook. We do this constantly throughout the day, where we see that, where we continue to see our behaviors, where we say that this is not what I want to do, I want to do this. You continue promise yourself in a way. Any conversation where you decide this is what I'm going to do, and you lay it down, this is exactly what I'm going to do, and then you don't do it, you are lying to yourself. You are lying. Your brain is perceiving you as a liar, as a loser. Like, this is the truth. This is the biggest discovery ever possible, right? You have to understand this. Like, take a moment, perhaps rewind what I'm talking about and listen to this again. Anything that you say you're going to do and you don't do it, your brain takes anything that you said you're going to do as a promise, and when you do not deliver, it perceives you as a liar, and eventually that becomes a habit. So anytime, for example, if you wanted to lose weight, and anytime you want to, start exercising, if you're coming up with an excuse, for example, I'm going to start exercising at 4 o'clock, and 4 o'clock you don't feel like it. And then you're like, maybe half an hour later, and you don't feel like it. Maybe half an hour later, and then something else comes up. You're lying to yourself. And what that does is, because your brain perceives you as a liar now, eventually that becomes the methodology in which you operate. Meaning that eventually whenever the topic of exercise comes up, automatically, like not very consciously, unconsciously, you feel like, I'm never going to do that. I don't think I'm ever going to do that, right? So unconsciously you become, you accept the situation you are in, and you make no effort whatsoever to change your present circumstance. So that is why people get stuck into the mode they are in, and they're like, why can't I change something in life? You know why? Because your brain is accustomed to your certain method of operation, which for so far has been, she's not going to get up. Doesn't matter what she says. And it is exactly the same thing when you don't wake up on time in the morning. Every time, if you keep hitting the snooze button, you are letting yourself down. You're telling your brain, I am not going to do what I was supposed to do. I set the alarm, but I'm not getting up at that time. So that is the innate loser behavior. Like, I don't know how to put it in any other nicer manner. If you say you're going to do something, commit to it, guys. Shock your brain. Your brain might say that you're a liar for a couple of times, but if you turn that around, if you start doing everything that you said, you will be amazed at the ideas your brain can think about. If you are in a creative profession, the ideas that are going to flow through your brain is going to eventually blow your mind, right? So learn to recognize what the brain wants, what you're telling it to do, and then do it, right? So you have to understand this. Our brain, we as human beings are capable of the things that you can't even imagine. You can't imagine what you can go and accomplish tomorrow. Your brain is the most amazing organ in your body. It is something that can directly talk to the universe and present whatever it is that you want, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. So it is that magical. So give your brain the chance to survive, to thrive, actually, not just survive, to thrive, right? Give it enough credibility, give it enough responsibility, to act. Because when you act, with your willpower, and you respond to the promises, to the conversations you have with self, your brain is going to be amazed and is going to oblige with whatever it is that you want to achieve. It was a pleasure. It is always a pleasure to talk to you all. I'm here to help you, and stay blessed, stay healthy. I will catch you again soon. Bye-bye.